you're talking about the school now. What's that? Oh, do you an MC today? Oh, you know, I'm very bashful. I don't know like that. Why does he an MC? But you know, I remembered everybody's name.
Here, I see one that's kind of fake. In fact, I see two that are.
Two Williams books I got.
So maybe we ought to have them.
Which Williams is? I couldn't remember which one was which.
Okay, but I was gonna make it like a book. You know, rather than just.
Huh?
Yeah.
Who was?
I would never recognize it.
What's those bifocals for? Is that a sign of intelligence so you can computer job? Oh,
Well,
that's
I just added a little bit early on. Yeah, I thought it was kind of neat.
well, that's great.
Fantastic. I
Get along that damn quick.
Yeah, that looked good.
I'll tell you that.
No.
Huh?
Where'd you get this here? This is
Walt Stanforth made it up, and of course it's about his,
Is Lawrence,
family and all.
yeah, mother, but the Stanforth started here, I guess.
What'd you say?
is Lawrence right? Is he right? Is he right? Is he gonna be?
Well, yeah, that's.
He's gonna be the CEO.
I think everything's good. We got a lot of memory stuff that people will enjoy, and
Just so much, you know, he's had strokes.
This was
His
11
wife,
that
of course,
His
is
grandfather.
back. But he's taking care of it. He's taking very good care of it.
well, you know, several heads all together. It really does, it really helps because,
Yeah, see, in the beginning, you found a Brian balloons on every table. Then I don't think about it now. That way you can really look across the room at somebody.
James is married to
And that's my fault.
Right, that's right.
That, and yes, that's my fault. She thought you were,
Okay, so
Can you
Maxwell Gaddis.
on the books, on the books, in the back of the
Well, Gaddis
book,
was the last
there's
name.
some addresses,
Okay.
and
That was a
you'll
surname.
see that your name.
And my grandfather was named Maxwell Gaddis, because he was named after his two grandfathers. Somebody back there was back in his mother's name.
That's okay, they do.
And then my dad was named after his two grandfathers.
Well, that's
Excuse me.
yeah, you have to have a pen. Maybe somebody's got
They all know it.
This is my grandfather.
We'll know by the face.
Yeah, we'll go by the face.
1938, that's my grandfather. First one, yeah, that's right, his first wife, Farrell, Laura.
what they do, misspell his name.
Oh, that's my
You
fault.
know how these older guys whine.
I did.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that drives me
This
nuts.
is wrong, because Maxie,
I
the
got
second
something
wife
like
is
that
my
sounds,
grandmother.
it's misspelled all the time, and it drives me crazy. I never.
Well, Ray Green, I forgot to put the E
Eon
on
Green,
Green.
yeah.
Eon Green.
Because this
Well, this looks great. You guys did a lot of work here.
this is my great grandfather. Yeah, Maxwell was Robert, this is his father.
No, we can tease the father, these are the siblings. So,
Grandfather, great
Oh, yeah, I
grandfather.
think it is. In fact,
Well, then we must be,
the lady
this
said,
is my grandfather.
Yeah, we just leave that up.
Sherry. Yeah, Sherry said that, we could leave it up for the kids. In a week or so, it'll probably start popping down, but it'll just drop right off. But we just thought, this is, sure, it's a good, it's good to have that. It's good for the children to think about. Yes.
John was
Well,
then
did you,
her
you
son,
did
that
go up
was
and
my
look
father. Charles was my uncle. See, those are all.
One of the students
Oh,
did
I see
that,
what
and
he's
it's
saying.
just
He didn't have a second. He said Burl was his first.
yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what did they take these off the computer or something?
You might be a generation.
Yeah, but how did they get the pictures? They could have been pictures in a magazine or maybe a magazine.
Depends on
Or in the
He was
newspaper.
born in 1895.
Maybe she painted in the middle, but see how she
5
burned
years.
around the edges and stuff? It just,
And he was fifth or sixth, there's a lot of boy, he was.
That's great.
The last three was my father, no, he was the fourth one.
You may be king, you may possess the world, and it's all of its gold, but gold won't bring you happiness when you're growing old. The world still is the same, you'll never change it, won't change it, as sure as the stars shine above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. So find yourself somebody to love, find somebody to love. The world still is the same, you'll never change it, you're never gonna change it, as sure as all the stars shine above, the stars above. Nobody till somebody loves you. So find yourself somebody, find yourself somebody to love, find yourself somebody to love, someone to love, find yourself somebody to love.
He lost his wife and newborn son in a tragic childbirthing accident. During his darkest times, his friends encouraged him to write. Well, write he did. That composer was Thomas Dorsey, and this is Precious Lord, Take My Hand.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, help me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call.
I'd like to do a tune for you. I think what we're going to do is
Okay.
I'd like to do a tune for you that was the very first song that Matthew and I learned as a quartet. It's probably not one that you've ever heard before, but we think it has a great message. We like the way the words go together. We like the way that the rhythms go together. I think it's got a great theme for anybody of any generation. So listen carefully to the words and see if you agree.
Even though I haven't got money, I feel I'm a wealthy man. I don't worry about inflation, 'cause my imagination conjured up this great financial plan. Oh, I've got a fortune in dreams. That's how I measure my treasure of schemes. I'm never blue if I can pretend. I wouldn't trade a million for the dreams that I spend. With only daydreams to last me till doing alright. I've learned to love the things in life that money cannot buy. That's why I see the sun and not the clouds in the sky. I haven't got a bankful, but I'm thankful to say, hey, I got a fortune and dreams put away.
Sure.
When you're gone, it seems that I can't go on, but you can trust me to behave. You better behave. No one to talk with, all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Wonderful you is, I know for certain, the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's just you I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. It's on his shoe, like a corner in the corner. Don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. But I'm not misbehaving, saving all my love for the one. You're the one I ain't misbehaving, swimming the stars above. You're the only one I love.
This is the man you trust with your money. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, barber shoppers love to sing the old songs, but to us, the old songs were in the 50s and 60s. So we'd like to take you now to those glorious days of rock and roll with Elvis the Pelvis, Little Anthony the Imperials, and the marvelous Marcel.
Rock, baby, rock and roll is here to stay. It will never die. It was meant to be that way, though I don't know why. I don't care what people say. Rock and roll is here to stay. We don't care what people say. Rock and roll is here. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. They said you was high class, that was just a lie. They said you was high class, that was just a lie. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Oh yeah, baby. And that's why you don't remember me, but I remember you. 'Twas not so long ago you broke my heart in two. Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart 'cause of you. Love is not a gadget, yeah, love is not a toy. When you find the one you love, she'll fill your heart with joy. Blue, 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 blue moon, dip, 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 blue, 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 blue moon, dip, 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 blue, 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 blue moon, dip, 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 bop, 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 dang, dang. dang, dang, ding-a-dong, ding-a-dong. You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, dang-a-dang-dang, ding-a-dong, ding-a-dong. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, dang-a-dang-dang, ding-a-dong-ding. Well, rock and roll is here to stay. It will never die, no. It was meant to be that way, though I don't know why. I don't care what the people say. Rock and roll is here to stay. We don't care what the people say. Rock and roll is here, here to stay.
How much time you got? That's the best line of the night. So how much time you got? He says, all forever, we're all retired. This song is a new one for us, and it's kind of fitting if we were picnicking and so forth, but it's a song about getting together and having a good time and partying, and that's what you're doing, so I think we'll
There you are.
we'll leave you with this one. And we'll stick around after a while and sing around the tables if you'd like to hear some more.
If you arrive at the bash a bit before I do, tell them all to look for me before the night is through. In the goo 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 of the evening, tell them I'll be there. In the goo 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 of the evening, better save a chair when the party's getting a glow on and singing fills the air. In the shack of the night when the dunes are right, and there's something to eat, you can tell them I'll be there. If you need a new face or a tenor or bass, you can tell them I'll be there. I'll be there.
And I would like to have Dale Myers come up and kind of give a little memory of Dale and any other information you have, Dale.
First of all, I'm delighted to see all of you again. I got up this morning and looked in the mirror, and then I found out of the audience, I'm the only one Scott over. Anyway, Neil Scott joined the service with me in 1950. And June 25th, I'm going to try to get a master of brevity because I had two things to present to you. June 25th, 1950, 200,000 troops massed on the North Korean border of South Korea. They invaded South Korea. We had 16,000 American troops there. MacArthur pulled the 24th Division out of Japan. In 8 days, Neil Scott went from Japan to Korea, very poorly equipped and ill-fed, no arms to speak of, and was still greatly outnumbered. He was captured as a prisoner of war. Records now indicate that in January 1951, he died in a prisoner of war camp of the North Koreans by malnutrition and froze to death. And he's our very first casualty of the Highland County. And You can't say enough for somebody like that goes and gives their life for our country. And that's the status of Neil Scott. I've heard other rumors that it haven't been verified. Now, if I may, I'd like to move on to one more thing. And this is a sad and a joyous thing that I get to do now. In 1952, there was an Air Force man named Wilson Knox, Jr. that was flying reconnaissance plane over Korea. Well, his sister and his next of kin now, the oldest living relative, is in our audience, our class, and I'd like at this time to ask Sally Field, Knox Fisher, to come up here, please. Would you, Sally? Sally has been agonizing for over 49 years about her brother. He was killed in a crash at Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington as they were taking off to do reconnaissance over Korea. And she has written to John Glenn, no response. She has written to the St. Louis Records Department. She got back information that the records were destroyed in a fire. She also wrote to Fairchild Air Force Base trying to get information. No response. Well, she has agonized this for 49 years. When she told me, I take something like this to heart because nobody treats a veteran to me very poorly. If they do, I want to do what I can to correct it. So I got the word from her, got more information, started in on the computer work and driving around, and I, at this time, want to start presenting and bring her up to date so she can agonize no more about her brother that was killed. They classified him as a non-veteran of the Korean War, which I'm going to show you in their regulations is not true. Here is the National Vet Archives that I want you to keep. I'm going to give you a lot of paperwork to keep that you may refer to in the first. Here's a place where you can get personnel and medical records. I found him in every one of these, but enjoy the maze. It's tough to get through. Here is a list of all the websites, and I have checked the ones, and why John Glenn office didn't do this, or the St. Louis, or Fairchild, I don't know. But there is websites that you can get him. Here's where his pay status came from. He had 15 days of pay coming. Then here's the National Archives for Records Administration. She doesn't need to worry anymore. He is well recorded, well documented, and everything is up to date as far as his records are concerned. Now, he has already received his Air Medal, his Good Conduct Medal, and other medals that he was entitled to. However, they closed the book on him and said, because he was flying reconnaissance, the way the regulations read, and I had a colonel about ready to court-martial me, even though I was a civilian, because he interpreted the rules different than I did. It says, performed their duty within the territorial limits of Korea, in the water adjacent to thereof, or in aerial flight over Korea, participating in actual combat. At this point, that colonel put a period and quit. He's not entitled to anything. Well, I dug out the regulations, and that's supposed to be a comma, and it says, or in support of combat operations. Flying reconnaissance is in support of combat operations. Therefore, the colonel changed his mind. It opened the door, and that's the awards and decorations center of Randolph Air Force Base, which happens to be 5 hours from me. And here's the record. I'm giving you all kinds of paperwork. You can close the door. Okay, now that opened the door for what he has rightfully earned. 1, he has earned 3 different medals. 1 is the United Nations medal. As you know, the Korean War was a war of the United Nations. And I have been empowered by the colonel to present this to the next living kin. Here is, let me sure I'm getting them straight here. Well, yeah, I am. This is the United Nations defense because he was in reconnaissance in support of a combat operation. So on behalf of the United Nations, I am honored to present that to Wilson Knox, Jr. All right, then we also have a National Defense Medal that our nation gives to participants who have defended our great nation that we thoroughly enjoy so much. And on behalf of the United States, I also am part of the same colonel to present to you the National Defense Service Medal to Wilson Knox, Jr. In 1951, Korea, the Republic of Korea, struck a medal and awarded it to every serviceman that participated in the Korean conflict. The United States had a law at that time that they could not accept a medal from a foreign government. Well, so be it. Then in 1999, Congress approved, the South Korea made this offer again to all servicemen that participated. This time, the United Nations Congress accepted the medal from the South Korean government for all those who have participated, and from the Republic of South Korea through the United States to you, I present you the Korean Service Medal. And shut the door, he's there. Now you may cry.
Well, what can I say? Our family proudly accepts this. And Dale, thank you for enabling it to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you, Sally. So as I said, everybody, we have about 80 people here tonight, and I think over 45 of them are actually classmates now. In 1948, when we entered high school, we had 107 people in the class, and many of them moved out and whatever, and by the time we graduated, we had 76 left. 17 have since died, which leaves 59 students, and I think we have over 75% represented here tonight. That's fantastic. So give yourself a our 17 deceased members, as we said, Neil was the first in this past. Since our 45th reunion, we've had 5 members pass away. The first was Daryl Strode and Pete Hedges and John Homer. Just most recently, John Homer just passed away this spring. And Pauline Richardson, I believe, was in that period. And Mary Louise Rhodes a couple of years ago. So we want this to be just to get together now with memories. We'll dedicate this to the memories we have of high school days. And we don't want them to be sad memories. We want them to be good memories. Many of the people, like I say, did leave. I remember I had a very good friend named Billy Pratt. I don't know how many of you knew him, but he left in 1949 and went to California with his family, and since moved to Phoenix. He was all set to be here tonight, but at the last minute was not the last minute, but he was unable to attend because of illness in his family. And so he wanted to make sure I said welcome. He really wanted to be greeted to everybody and be remembered to everyone. So another person that left a senior year is Phil Richardson. And glad to have you here, Phil. In fact, if you have any memories, I'd like to hear some memories from you.
Mary Ann says I'm not allowed to tell.
You can tell on him too, Mary Ann. Right?
We've already shared.
But I'm sure you have many memories. Phil did move to Wilmington and actually graduated from the Wilmington class, but he was with us for 11 of those 12 years, all through Webster and out to high school. And Phil, why don't you come up and give us a few memories?
I'm going to tell. No, I really, having graduated from Wilmington, I went to their 50th reunion a couple of months ago. So this makes number 2. My next one is my ship's reunion, the USS Nespelin, which I'm going to 2 more weeks. So this has been my reunion year. But one of the things, I really made some good friends in Wilmington. And, I grew up with you guys. And so I know a lot of stories about you too. But I think some of the best times I had was with my gang just before I left. And believe me, it was a heart-wrenching thing to leave here just about senior year coming up. But, some of the things we did might have been considered wild now, you know? I'm going to tell at least one. We used to go to the drive-in, and a couple, 3 people here would get in the trunk of the car, and we wouldn't pay for them. And one of them was sitting at this table here. And Sue, were you in that? But I think the other one was Marilyn McConaughey. But we did do a few fun things. And Halloween here, wasn't that a fun time? Yeah. Would we get arrested for that now? I think rotten eggs were a preferred thing to use at times, and sometimes people got caught. My brother got caught and left town. I think he threw a tomato at a police car. But anyway, I remember the study halls, that big study hall, and who was the study hall teacher? No, not Mr. Kennelly. It was a woman, rather short.
Miss Robinson.
Yeah, Mr. Robinson. And somebody in that study hall passed a note around and said,
from Ohio University in Athens, and he was in language, German language, and it was the Language Resource Center, and they named the new building.
They were at the bottom of the social scale. Basically, they were transplanted mountaineers. They came north from around Salyersville, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and so forth, came to the edge of the Appalachian Escarpment, which is actually around the Carmel area, and stopped. And there they did menial labor, sometimes acquired things that didn't really belong to them, and formed their own community, and actually became a folk legend. There's a movement now, if you get your computers out, and I'm sure most of you have them, and get the word Melungeon, M-E-L-U-N-G-E-O-N, and do a search on it, you will find a plethora of information about these people, including ideas as to where they actually came from. There are several theories and so forth. I was privileged to work with an anthropologist who had an interest in this, and when he found out that I had been literally raised among such people, why, together we started a paper, and the paper metastasized and became a book. And I feel really gratified that someone consented to publish it.
Thanks, Jack. I read the book, and I did find it very interesting. Another memory I have was in 8th grade football.
I just want to add one thing. Among the people who made a significant contribution to the book, in terms of pictures and so forth, is one James Stanforth. Okay.
In 8th grade football, I remember
things bother you. But, you know, something happened to me about 6 months ago. I was in the service station, and this guy was cleaning his windshield. A very short fellow, about the size of Jack there. And he was standing on this, he had a van, and he was cleaning the windshield, and he was standing on this milk crate. And he had trouble really cleaning that darn windshield. And I, was filling my little pickup truck right beside it. And my gosh, all of a sudden, he fell right off of that darn orange crate. And the aerial on that van went right up through his, show how lucky we are, went right up through his throat and in through one of his eyeballs. And luckily I had some wire cutters, actually bolt cutters, and I was able to cut this darn aerial off. So the paramedics, didn't have to remove the darn thing. But blood, it was terrible. Just last week, prior to coming here, I saw his wife. She's a cute little thing. This guy was only in his early 40s. And I says, his name was Bob. And I says, how's Bob getting along? He says, well, he still hasn't got his eye replaced. He's still taking intravenously being fed. And I says, well, how's he getting along? He says, well, that isn't the worst part. The worst part is he can't have sex for the rest of his life. And I scratched my head, my God, he can't have sex. How did this happen? What happened? He says, well, it really bothers me, but he said the doctor with this condition can't have sex for the rest of his life because he's got venereal disease. So, folks, how lucky are we to be here tonight? Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? I'd want to just call, if anybody would like to have some memories, let me hear some volunteers here now.